Another victim was American architect Arthur Mace, who had been the person to rip out the last piece of wall blocking the entrance to the tomb. He died in the same hotel with the same symptoms as Caravan, feverish and in a sudden coma. The morning after Carter had shown his friend George Gould the tomb, Gould awoke with a high fever. By nightfall, he was dead. Radiologist Archibald Douglas Reed was the first to cut the mummy's wrapping and x-ray it. Reed died aboard ship on his way home to England.
What caused these untimely and coincidental deaths among the invaders of King Tut's sacred tomb? Could they have been caused naturally from inhaling an ancient bacteria or virus? Dr. Ezzeddin Taha, an eminent physician and biologist in Cairo, held a press conference in 1962. He claimed the discovery of an ancient microscopic fungus that had probably survived in a dormant state for thousands of years, which could be controlled by modern antibiotics. Ironically, before he could prove his theory, Dr. Taha was killed in a freak automobile accident. Later autopsy revealed he had died of the same circulatory collapse as the others and may have been already dead before his car careened off the road. Could it be that there is something to the curse of the pharaohs? Or, as many pyramidologists are now theorizing, that the deadly virus that killed all these people was literally from out of this world? Could a Stone Age people have built these pyramids that cannot be duplicated today? New evidence we are not alone in this universe when we come back with a chilling discovery. The more we learn about the Giza complex, the more unsure we are of conventional theories for explaining the mysteries of the structures in this great pyramid. If conventional theories do not explain the purpose for the pyramids, what do more contemporary theories have to offer?
In 1813, astronomer Richard Proctor discovered from ancient records that the Great Pyramid had indeed been used as an astronomical instrument.
The pyramids are essentially crystalline in structure, and therefore highly receptive to radio-like energy waves or even cosmic microwaves. The Great Pyramid at Giza, with its 5 granite slabs above the king's chamber, are what the ancient Egyptians called spirit stone, and they could have been a massive receiver-transmitter tuned to some distant part of the universe of which we are still ignorant.
Based on evidence provided by Sumerian texts, it appears that the Giza pyramids were built as beacons by extraterrestrials as part of a landing corridor ending at a spaceport in the Sinai Desert.
There are numerous theories about the purpose of the Great Pyramid at Giza, ranging from the preposterous to the ingenious. But what is distinctly missing is how in this world were they built?
The Greek historian Herodotus visited the Giza site in the 5th century BC. He wrote that the Egyptians of that time told him that a continuous crew of 100,000, replaced every 3 months, worked a period of 20 years to build the Great Pyramid.
To build the Great Pyramid in 20 years, as some archaeologists claim, would have meant setting one of those huge stones every 3.5 minutes, 24 hours a day. That would require a technology we don't have today.
It's difficult to justify the premise that the Great Pyramids were built with primitive stone and copper tools. These people had no knowledge of the wheel as a means of transportation. No pulleys, no modern surveying equipment, winches, derricks, or block and tackle. Hundreds of blocks weighing 30 tons are situated high in the Great Pyramid. The only mechanical devices that they had were the lever, the roller, and the inclined plane.
But setting the stones in place was only one of the problems. Bringing the stones from the quarries to the construction site was an equally imposing task.
They were moved on huge sledges or pulled across a bed of rolling logs. Those stones that came from the distant quarries were barged downriver to the site. A great causeway led from the river landing, and the stones were moved up its mile length. Once on site, the stones were pulled up ramps and levered from tier to tier and then set in place. The process was incredibly labor-intensive and perhaps the greatest single effort of men working together to accomplish a dream.
There is a widespread general belief, which Hollywood has helped to promote, that hundreds of thousands of slaves were used to build the pyramids. Nothing could be further from the truth.
The Egyptians of the 4th dynasty were neither a formidable military nation nor a very aggressive one. But even if they were, there were not enough potential slaves within a 5,000-mile radius to have supplied the workforce needed.
The generally accepted academic viewpoints are divided equally between the rollers and the rampers. These two theories are being taught in the schools right now as facts, when they're not even substantial theories.
With the Ramper School of Egyptology, we are asked to believe that a mile-long ramp was built, rising in slope as the pyramid increased in height. Actually, it would have required more effort to build the ramp than to build the pyramid itself. There would have been some 6 billion pounds of construction garbage to get rid of afterwards. But where is it? Does anyone know?
This question is one which even the most adamant of the ramp theorists cannot answer. But what about the log roller theory? Couldn't the stones have been moved to the site this way?
Moving a given stone in this manner can be demonstrated, but some rather obvious consideration should have dispelled this notion long ago. The only trees available in ancient Egypt were date palms, and as a food source, it's unlikely they would have been cut down. Importing logs would have required more shipping than Egypt has ever possessed in its entire history, just to transport the 25 million trees needed. Next, it's virtually impossible to roll a log on stone-ship roads. But even if they could be rolled, the great weight of the stones would have crushed the logs to pulp within a very short distance.
There must have been another totally different method of lifting and moving these tremendously heavy stones, a device that would make the moving of these massive weights feasible. However, we know of no such device available in ancient Egypt. The Egyptians were not the architects nor the builders of the Great Pyramid.